than intelligent. But it's been around for a long time. They do virtual kidnapping scams. It's not new, but the bad guys can mimic your voice. So your mom or dad can get a phone call saying, I have Susie and with me, and if you don't send me whatever amount of money, I'm gonna kill her, I'm gonna hurt her, whatever. And then they'll say, Susie, say something, and it will sound like Susie's voice, talking, crying, screaming. It's very easy to do. It happened to an investigator friend of mine, actually. Someone acted like they had his daughter. But she was in the same room he was. So clearly not. But it happens. So a good way to protect from falling for that is you and your family should have a code word or a phrase that they can say, hey, ask her whatever, or him whatever the phrase is or whatever the word is. And it should be something that they couldn't intuitively connect with you. So just some random word. I tell my clients to take a dictionary. Old school. A dictionary, just flip it open and put your finger on a word. So it's just a random word that everybody knows. So if something happens and someone calls you, you say the word. And then deepfake photos are also entering the world of sextortion and trafficking. And that's when these guys take a photo of someone's body and put your face on it and your head on it. And they're very convincing looking. So it's another thing to look out for. A lot of photos that are online, it's easy to do that with. So you kind of want to be careful how many photos you put online of you, because your face can be put on anything, and it's getting easier. So here's another case that I worked on several months ago. A 14-year-old girl failed to return to a local school after lunch. She's autistic. A couple of her classmates had seen her get into a vehicle with out-of-state license plates, accompanied by a young man they'd never seen before. They notified school authorities, which was good, instantly, and they called the girl's parents. She was supposed to be at school, so 911 was called. The deputies responded, along with the parents, and the parents had called me as well. And we quickly determined their daughter had been talking to a new friend online. They knew nothing else about him. Friends of the now missing girl said she told them she was going to meet her new boyfriend. They didn't give a name, didn't show a picture of him, nothing. So all they knew was she was meeting her boyfriend. Law enforcement issued an Amber Alert because the classmates had gotten the vehicle information, and someone snapped a picture of the license plate, which was good. Every now and then a phone comes in handy. Not most of the time, but in that moment, it was a good thing. The vehicle was owned by a 24-year-old sex offender from Texas. So they had been talking online, and he came to Mission Viejo from Texas to pick her up and take her away somewhere. Within a couple hours, she was found, and the guy was arrested. She was found in a city hotel in Los Angeles County. So again, moved from one county to another. They do that because it makes it more difficult to find you quickly. She'd been sexually assaulted by not only her new boyfriend, but another adult male. She's been in counseling, has returned to school. She's doing really well considering, obviously, this horribly traumatic experience. But she's going to have to take part in trial in the future. So it's not over. It sticks with her. It's going to stick with her forever. So my big takeaway on that one, and on a lot of these, is if you see something, say something. A lot of kids have been rescued as a direct result of airline employees, passengers at airports, restaurant workers, medical professionals, shoppers, fellow teenagers, classmates, paying attention and calling 911 because they saw something suspicious. 911 does not mind getting a call that ends up being nothing. They'd much rather get a call that's nothing than to figure out later that, oh my gosh, that girl or that boy was kidnapped and they're gone. And then also, I know no one's going to admit they're on TikTok, but anyway, this was all over TikTok and somewhere else too. But do you know the hand sign for if you're in trouble? What is it? There you go. Yeah, you go like this, tuck your thumb and you do this. So you want to know that something, it totally went viral on TikTok, it's been other places too, but that's huge. So if you're in trouble, you know to do, and you can do it behind your back wherever, but that's a good sign. And if you see someone doing that, say something. Call 911, find an adult, do something. So that those friends that called on that girl that was taken from the school probably saved her life because the guy was a very violent sexual predator. So sextortion. Sextortion starts very innocently when a new person friends the potential victim on social media. The kids are groomed, flirted with, love bombed, instantly in love. They try to establish a relationship. When a slightly provocative photo is requested and sent, that's when the trouble begins. The perpetrator, who has asked many, many questions of the victim but divulged no personal information, starts making demands and issuing threats. A neighbor of mine, actually, her 15-year-old son, got hit up by someone that he thought was a teenage girl, and he sent a photo, and literally within seconds, someone popped on and said $75,000 right now, or I'm going to send this to everybody. The person had screenshot his friends on Instagram. So this kid thought, oh my gosh, he has access to all my friends, which he did not, but he thought so. He didn't have any money to send, but he did the smart thing. He told his parents what was going on, and his dad got on and took care of the problem. But it doesn't usually work out that way. You're usually kind of on your own to start with. So, and they'll claim if they don't receive the money, they're going to distribute the photo, the video to friends, family, school, church, the places that will embarrass you the most. What's really sad is the second you send that photo, it's distributed all over the place. Not necessarily to your people, but these bad guys have their own people, their own circle of people, mostly on the dark web or the deep web, that they instantly send those things to. So it's gone, it's already distributed. It doesn't matter how much money you give them or what you do, it's not coming back. There's no way to get it back. So sending that can be a really bad decision that can destroy your life, but it doesn't have to. A lot of teens are sextorted by friends. These cases often involve someone that the victim previously dated. Sometimes in an attempt to get you back. Like they're going to win you back by sending out your inappropriate photo. Obviously, the easiest way to avoid this is don't send photos like that to anybody, ever. No matter who they are, how much you trust them. Self-esteem is a gift you give yourself, and a great way to protect that is by not sharing things that should remain private. And they really should remain private. If you send a photo or video to a predator, someone that coerced her, you're not to blame. They're evil manipulators. They're really good at getting you to do things. You're not committing a crime. If you send a friend's photo, you are committing a crime. So kids will do that in either revenge or because they're upset or whatever. You cannot send a naked photo of your friend to someone. That would be you distributing child pornography. Scary, scary thing. Meetups with sextortion suspects have led to rapes, kidnapping, sex trafficking, and death. One recent documented incident involved a 14-year-old boy who thought he was meeting up with a female he'd been talking to. Instead, he was picked up by 2 adult females who held him hostage, raped him repeatedly over multiple days, and dumped him naked on the side of the road. He was lucky he survived. A recent, more local case, in July 2020, Patricia Alatorre, age 13, was groomed online by Armando Cruz, 24, from Inglewood. He convinced her to meet him twice. So she went and met him once. The second time, she didn't want to go with him, but he made her. He forcibly raped her, strangled her several times. So he strangled her, but he brought her back. Then he poured lighter fluid all over her body and burned it, killing her. In January of last year, he was sentenced to life without parole. So these things are happening, here, now. It doesn't have to. So the only way out if somebody is doing something like this to you, either wanting you to send things, trying to sextort you, trying to get you to leave home, is to tell someone. You can tell a trusted adult, your parents, law enforcement. If someone sends you inappropriate photos, Don't just delete them, screenshot them, because they're evidence. And you want to take that evidence to the police when you go to the police with your parents or an adult. And it's really important to be willing to report this, because the more it gets reported, the more it'll be fought by law enforcement. Hopefully laws will come up with stricter sentencing or something, so these things will stop being so common. And it helps protect your younger siblings and younger friends. So you can be a hero for the little ones. But no one's invincible. This can happen to anyone. It's not your fault. You're not going to get in trouble for sending photos or videos to a predator who coerced you into sending them. And then you're not alone. There's a lot of people out here in the world that are willing to help and want to help keep you safe. So if you want to learn more about this stuff, even as kids, you can take part somewhat in human trafficking task force. They're all over the place. Every county has one. You can contact them and see what you can do. They have trainings, things that you can do. Take part in events like this where you're learning things. And then, if you want to contact me, that's me. I have business cards to give anybody wants them. If you suspect.
Go ahead. I was going to comment on something, but I'll let you finish.
Okay, yeah. If you suspect someone's being trafficked, you can call this phone number or text that number. So it's 888-373-7888. A super easy number to remember. Or you can text the word help to 233-733, and that works if it's you're in trouble or someone else is in trouble. And then if you want to get alerts on your, not smart devices that you're not using, you can sign up for Insider Alerts, which has great information from a million kids about how to keep safe on trends and things. So, okay, so you had a question?
I was just going to comment. So we both work at schools. I work at a middle school. So what I was going to say is I see stuff like this a lot, even a lot of times between students with each other. So I know it's oftentimes really embarrassing and difficult for young people to want to tell someone, but if there's someone that even at school, ideally you would tell your parents, but to be realistic, a lot of kids are really terrified of telling their parents first. So if you want to talk to someone at school or something, I mean, this happens a lot, more than I would like to say happens. And it's so horrifying, for the kids when it happens and they send pictures or whatever the case may be and they can't get them back. But we'll help out. There's people at the schools, that will help out in those situations. So I just kind of wanted to make that comment because, like I said, I'm at a middle school, and so this is like anywhere between 12 and 14, and this kind of stuff happens a lot. And we help, right?
Yeah.
We figure out how to help them through that, whether it's another student or whether it's someone that they don't know how to handle online or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and it's important that they know they can go to people. When I was like 9 years old, there was a girl in my dance studio that was being molested. And I went home and I told my mom, and she slapped me for talking that way. So I was like, okay, can't tell her. So I would tell my grandmother. So everyone's got someone that they can talk to, an adult. There's going to be one somewhere, and there are more and more that are looking to help. Ideally, it's somehow convincing, hormonal kids not to send photos. That's the real challenge, is don't send photos and videos to people. But yeah, does anybody have any questions? I have no idea what time it is or how long I've been talking. So.
I have a question. When you were talking about, it could be a family member, it could be like a parent's love interest, like how do the kids know who they can trust to talk to, or who they can trust? Like how do they know if that's going to be a sex trafficker or what they're going to do?
Well, you definitely don't talk to someone you don't really know.
What about like family? Like
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of trafficking is done by family. So I had a case with a mom who decided she didn't want her ex-husband to have custody or ever have anything to do with their 4-year-old child. So she threatened to sell him to traffickers and took off across the country, where she was teaching pole dancing lessons at strip clubs and taking her little boy with her. We finally found him at a strip club in Santa Ana and took him back to his dad. So family does do that. Oftentimes, grandma, I went to my